That's Tony Hancock in. Hancock's half hour.
Been in hospital recently, Sid? How's your health? No serious illnesses, I hope.
Don't worry about me, Hancock. I haven't been in hospital since 1943 when I had my tonsils out. Nah, I avoid hospitals. They're full of ill people. I'm not stupid.
Agree with the first bit, but not the last bit, Sid. All in all, you're careful about going to hospitals, are you?
Damn right I'm careful. I want to live a bit longer.
Well, in that case, be nice and careful when you go to pick up our next customer. He's at East Cheam Hospital. Mind how you go. Make sure the villain doesn't bump his head getting into the car. I've heard he said he's a bit sore on account of blowing himself up with a cigarette.
Thanks a bunch, Hancock. I'll have to borrow your mask, and I promise to fill it full of germs for you. Here is Hancock, our next culprit, client. Mr. Drain, he's had a bit of an accident and he isn't feeling very well.
What happened? Am I still alive? Can you see any flames? Put it out with me. Are you two firemen?
You've been burning the candle at both ends, haven't you, matey? Look, I'll open a window so the smell of burnt flesh doesn't catch in your throat. How's that? I'll tell you what happened. You've been setting yourself alight, Mr. Drain, which is usually accompanied by sensations of extreme pain, nay agony.
But I was in hospital. They're supposed to make you better. I was on the general ward 1 minute, and next minute I was transferred to accident and emergency with a loud bang. I went flying through the window.
I heard it was the condemned man's last cigarette, Mr. Drain. Don't you know you're not supposed to smoke in hospital? It's full of sick people who want to get better, not worse.
I don't smoke. It's a lie. The cigarette must have been placed in my hand by a nurse. I've never touched them. Coffin nails they are.
What brand of cigarette don't you smoke, Mr. Drain?
Ooh, let me think. I'll have to be careful about this one. I don't smoke Marlboro.
Gotcha. That was the brand of cigarette you were smoking when you blew up the ward.
Ooh, you tricked me. You used a double negative.
Not tricks, Mr. Drain, just good honest policing.
It's not my fault. They don't have signs up all over the place saying no smoking.
That's because everyone knows you're not supposed to smoke in hospitals, don't they?
What about grapes then?
You can't smoke grapes, can ya? Everyone eats grapes, don't they? So there's no signs up saying no grapes.
It wasn't my fault I was feeling drowsy. I didn't ask for any oxygen. But this big male nurse, he grabbed me and stuck a mask on my face. I thought it was for the coronavirus. You should have noticed I had a fag on.
Shame it was oxygen and not laughing gas then.
I might have seen the funny side if it had been.
But we can see the funny side of it, can't we, Sid?
Not half, and now you know, Mr. Drain, why they say smoking's bad for your health.
I only smoke when I'm nervous. Can I light one up now?
No, you cannot. This is a workplace. It's against the law. Anyway, haven't you learnt your lesson yet?
Are you trying to say I'm a slow learner? It's not the first time it's happened, though. I'm used to it by now.
So, it's not the first time you've blown up an hospital then, Mr. Drain?
Not an hospital? No, that would be silly. I'm a gas engineer by trade. Not oxygen gas, that would be a bit daft too. There are other gases, you know. There I was, minding my own business while changing the valve on a gas main, and whoosh, all hell broke loose. I went up in the air about 20 feet.
What on earth was that? Gas mains are not usually in the habit of exploding.
No, they don't, do they? And I was only having a quick puff on my first cigarette of the morning.
Did you go to school, Mr. Drain? Did you do chemistry? You know, Bunsen burners, flames, explosions.
No, during chemistry I used to slip outside behind the bike sheds for a fag. You see, it's not my fault.
Change the record. I think we've heard this one before, matey. We're beginning to get the picture, Mr. Drain, so I'm going to have to fine you. The old ward at East Cheam Hospital had oxygen masks, and they all went up. It was a chain reaction. You made a lot of people getting well a hell of a lot unweller. That little bit of nicotine heaven is going to cost you $3,000.
That's it. I'll have to give up smoking now, won't I? I can't afford them.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, Mr. Drain. Can't you find a safer job? One underwater, for example.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea. How about an oil rig? Oil's not flammable, is it?
Yes. So, who's up next, Hancock?
The next one up, Sid's a serial offender, known as the Bog Bomber, unofficially of course. The police know him under the sobriquet of the Loo Bomber. The police are too busy with lockdown to deal with it, so they've given it to us. It's quite a high profile case. We're moving up in the world.
I don't know about you, but I'm not sure I want to be known as a man who caught the Bug Bomber. Haven't you got anything a bit classier? What about the toilet tow rag?
Hey, not Sid, it's the Bog Bomber or nothing. Here, I've got a profile of the bomber from eyewitness accounts. Take a gander.
He's slim, boyish looking, pointed face with a funny nasal voice. That's a flaming coincidence. That sounds just like our Mr. Drain. He's gone, hasn't he? Can't be him though, can it?
Oh, he's still here. He asked if he could use the toilet.
Well, Mr. Hancock, it is you, isn't it? You look a little singed round the edges. Have you and Mr. James recovered from your little accident?
It was no accident, Judge See-Through. That's why we're here. It was Mr. Drain there. He blew us up. He's the Loo Bomber. He's a menace to society.
Silence! That is sub judice. It's for me and me alone to decide what Mr. Drain is and whether he is responsible for what happened. Is that clear?
No need to shout, Your Honour. I've got 2 perforated eardrums. And Sid has 3. Oh, it sounded like 3 when he was trying to tell me, but of course I can't hear very well.
In which case, it is permissible to shout because you are deaf and can't hear what I am saying. Now, Mr. William Arthur Simon Peter Zachariah Drain, did you or did you not blow up Mr. Hancock and Mr. James at number 23 Railway Cuttings?
That's not my name. You've made a mistake. Got the wrong man. Can I go?
No, you cannot. Let's see. Oh dear, I must get my paperwork in order. Then who are you, for heaven's sake?
I'm William Arthur Simon Peter Zachariah Jonathan Drain. That's my full name. You use my nickname, it's less of a mouthful.
Oh, for crying out loud, let's get on. It is you, isn't it? How do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honour. All I was doing was sitting on Mr. Hancock's toilet when it exploded. I'm entirely innocent and want to sue as my already burnt bottom was severely burnt in the accident. I am innocent, and I say that from the bottom of my heart. Mind you, it's done wonders for me piles.
From the heart of your bottom, more like. Oh, do stop laughing, Mr. Hancock. This is not a bawdy house. So why, Mr. Hancock, do you claim that Mr. Drain here is to blame for your toilet exploding, if indeed it exploded at all?
Because, Your Honour, my toilet has never exploded before Mr. Drain used it, and a quantity of nitroglycerine was later found in the bowl by forensics from the Surrey police.
Oh, goody. This is going to be easy. Right, Mr. Drain, did you have nitroglycerine on your person the day you visited number 23 Railway Cuttings?
Nitroglycerine? Is that the one with honey and lemon and glucose? I did have a cough on account of I'm a smoker.
Jolly good, Mr. Drain. I'll take that as a no. There you are, Mr. Hancock. Complete ignorance. This man doesn't know what nitroglycerine is, and therefore cannot have put it in your toilet. He thinks it's cough medicine.
Or is it kind of bleach for whitening the rim of the bowl?
No, it is not, Mr. Drain. So therefore, ipso facto, Mr. Hancock, he cannot have put the nitroglycerine in the loo. It's obvious. A child of 3 could see it.
But I'm not a child of 3, Your Honour.
You're not, are you, Mr. Hancock? Perhaps Mr. James put it in there.
Why would I put nitroglycerine in my own toilet? Now, if I was a safe breaker, it might be a different story.
Keep quiet, Sid.
Perhaps you put it there to remove some stubborn stains. How would I know? Case dismissed for lack of evidence. Usher, would you please get me a cappuccino and some digestives and show these 3 reprobates out?
What about the rest of the forensic evidence? The Surrey police found nitroglycerin on Mr. Drain's hands.
Don't you mate me? Circumstantial evidence, that's all. But all right, Mr. Drain, I will ask you again. Did you handle nitroglycerine on the day Mr. Hancock's toilet exploded?
No, Your Honour, I couldn't have done. Oh, wait a minute. I dropped my mobile phone down the toilet and had to retrieve it.
Oh, what a nuisance. Expensive one, was it?
Yes, it's a Samsung Galaxy S20 FE Ultra 5G with virtual reality.
Very nice, top end. I've only got an Apple iPhone with
Judge See-Through, Judge See-Through.
Mr. Hancock, haven't I warned you about interrupting before?
Could we possibly get on with the case? My burns need dressing again, and I'll need turning over in 5 minutes.
It's all about you, Mr. Hancock, isn't it? Me. You've heard Mr. Drain. He got the nitroglycerine from your toilet and not the other way round.
I don't put nitroglycerine down the toilet, Your Honour, on account of I don't have any.
Hancock, you didn't touch any of my nitroglycerine, did you? Well, what did you put down the toilet, Hancock? Gunpowder? Ammonium nitrate? Centex? TNT? Plutonium?
No, toilet duck, Your Honour.
As far as I am aware, Mr. Hancock, there is no nitroglycerine in toilet duck. Therefore, I would be very careful what you say. You are a whisker away from being convicted of the crime of blowing up poor Mr. Drain over there.
Your Honour, can I have a word? I can hardly hear Mr. Drain. I think he needs a glass or 2 of water to help his throat out.
That's very kind. I am feeling a bit dry. I keep blowing myself up, you see. It dries out the mucous membranes in your windpipe.
Yes, very well if you must. In summary, it's the judgment of this court, Mr. Hancock, that the only way any nitroglycerine could have found its way into your toilet is if either you or Mr. James put it there, in which case it is my onerous duty to charge you with causing Mr. Drain here grievous bodily harm.
Your Lordship. Psst. Your Lordship.
Oh, what is it now? I'm just getting to the good bit, Mr. Drain, sentencing Mr. Hancock.
But I need to go to the loo. I've got a weak bladder.
You'll miss the good bit. Oh, very well. Usher, show him to the gentleman's water closet, will you? Now, Mr. Hancock, I know you're not a thoroughly bad man, but you are heading in that general direction. So, hold up.
Well, poor old Judge See-Through got blown up by Mr. Drain. His wig went hurtling across the court and landed on Sis Ed, who sentenced old Judge See-Through to 7 years in Wandsworth. It was clever of Sid to get Mr. Drain to spend a penny, I must say. Native cunning from the old dog. Mr. Drain just can't resist blowing up toilets, can he? And it proved he was the loo bomber after all.